How do I build a great deck? What
How
cards
do
should I
I
build
build
a
a
great
good
deck?
deck?
What
What
best cards
cards
do I
do
use?
I use?
What
What
cards
best
are the
cards?
best? If any of these poor, confused souls sound a lot like you, let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, gamers? Skull Mystic. I have often been asked by new players, and sometimes should be asked more often by advanced players, just exactly what goes into making a great playing deck. The answer to that is both, I'm unfortunate to say, simple and complex at the same time. First things first, your deck should not ever look like this. It should never look like a yard sale exploded on your lawn. It should never look like you were magic sick and just hurled up a bunch of spells into your deck. Oh, hey, this looks good. Oh, hey, that's pretty. I'll use that. I'm not sure what this does, but let's throw a couple in there anyway. Yeah, none of that. None of that. This is what a deck should not look like. It shouldn't have every space filled with cards that you're not even sure what they do. But, well, you might use them someday. No, it should not do that. The secrets to building a good deck start with thinking. And sometimes, and as you go along, a little bit of experience. What exactly is my goal for this? Is this a boss fight? Am I just running around the world, hitting up random mobs in my quest line? What exactly is the purpose for the deck that I want to have? And let me give you an example of that. Okay, I do believe I have it. This might be it. I've got too many decks here, really. but, okay, this is my normal playing deck, going through, questing, what have you, whatever else. I've got a couple of tower shields in here. I've got a bugs, and a sultan, a bats for a light hit, Queen Calypso, and I've got a couple of reshuffles, and a couple of storm prisms, and a couple of blades. Okay, basically what this deck does, you'll notice I don't have traps in it. I personally, unless you're doing a boss fight or a specific type of fight where you can't use blades, whatever else, I prefer to not use traps. Now, I know, you're going to say, well, you got Mass Storm Trap right there. Well, I have Mass Storm Trap in this deck, but it's a no-cost spell, for one thing, to trap everybody. And for another, I can either choose to use or not use these two cards as a discard, which I'll explain here in a minute. All right, what I have here is basically a hit for big things, for a number of things at the same time, such as Stormlord and the Sound of Musicology. Those will all hit multiple targets. And some small hits in here for, like when the boss has 500 health left, and I don't know what else, and I don't have the pips for a big hit. Okay, that lightning bats is a small hit, 2 pips, will do a mass load of damage for a storm, and it will get me on about my business. I have 2 reshuffles in here. The reason I have 2 reshuffles is you'll very frequently find that in the rush of things, you accidentally, or maybe even on purpose, delete a reshuffle thinking you're not going to use it. The reason I have 2 reshuffles in here is once one of the reshuffles is deleted and it's in my out deck, if I go and reshuffle again, it will always bring a reshuffle back to my hand. If you have 1 reshuffle in here, I've seen this play both ways. I'm not sure what the current methodology of the game devs is, but I've seen it where if you have 1 reshuffle in your deck and you use the reshuffle, and for some reason you have a long fight or something's going on, well, you won't be able to reshuffle again because that reshuffle is now in your discard deck. However, if you have 2 in there, you'll always have 1 either in your active deck or in your inactive deck, so that you could always have a reshuffle no matter what. So that's one of the things that I do in my deck. I always have 2 reshuffles. I've got a couple of tower shields in here. I may use them, I may not use them. I may just use them as discards to get what I want. Okay. I'll talk more about the discards here in a moment. Now, that's my running around the world, fighting mobs, doing what I gotta do deck right there. It covers pretty much every situation. No deck is one size fits all, but that's the deck that one size fits most. So, what it takes to build a great deck is thinking, I do believe. I have mentioned that. And let me find the specific deck that I want. Take me a minute here. Okay, that's just some random stuff. Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay, this is my boss deck. This is the other type of deck that you'll be focusing on. There are, besides questing, and besides going out and fighting mobs, you know, in that quest line, you're going to come across bosses that have something that you want. Be it a ring, be it shoes, be it a hat, whatever, you know, be it a pet, whatever else. The nature of this game is farming. It's sometimes farming over and over. And sometimes farming over and over and over and over and over. Yeah, okay, I know I'm carrying off with the mouth here. But many times I had to farm a boss 50 or 100 times to get the item I wanted. And in those times, I learned exactly the number of spells that it takes me to defeat that boss and go to the next fight or what have you else. This deck is currently set up for Heidi or Uwe. Thank you, German girl who explained to me how to say his name right, because I had no clue, so thank you very much. Okay, this deck is set up for Heidi or Uwe. I can solo Heidi with just this few cards. I have a blade in here with a 35%. I have one sharpen so that I can make that a 45 if I need to, and I have another 35 blade over here. Sometimes I have an extra blade, sometimes I won't. Now, I don't have reshuffles in this deck because I know that I won't need to reshuffle. This amount of cards will beat Heidi. This amount of cards in a team-up will beat Uwe. You can solo Uwe, but it's a tough process. So I just generally team up whenever I fight that boss, and this is enough cards to do that. A really great deck starts with only what you need to have. Only what you need to have is going to vary in situation. Again, like that boss fight there, or the one-size-fits-most mob deck that I showed you. One of the things that you... Gotta grab that, sorry. Sorry, the crafter in me demands I grab every reagent I find. Anyway, as I was saying, the secret to great deck construction isn't having every card for every possible situation. Because I have seen so many players get killed trying to find that one card that they know will really do it for them under a pile of 50 pieces of junk. So many times I've seen this. I have seen this in group boss fights. I have seen this in questing. I've seen this in PvP, especially in PvP, because those boys pack a lot of things, and they come across a situation where they need X card, and they can't find it, and they're shuffling through their stuff, and they're shuffling through their stuff, and they're shuffling through their stuff. Too many cards. If you have to shuffle through stuff all the time to get what you need, you got too many cards in your deck. Too many. Okay? So really, the secrets of great decks start with thinking. Starts with not having more cards than you possibly need. Well, Skell, how do I know which ones I need, which ones I don't? Believe me, as you go along, as you start out from the lower levels and go up, you'll discover which cards work for your school or work for you best and personally. I'm using a Storm character here, but the actual strategies, the actual deck building works the same for every school. You put in a couple of blades, you put in a couple of small hits, you put in a couple of big hits, maybe some shields if you're not really feeling confident that day, what have you, but put in as few cards as you think you can get away with. If it doesn't work that time, then you know, well, you generally need a few more cards. You will get this as you go along, as you adventure more and more. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, there's still, I know of advanced players who have a spell puke deck where they've just dumped every card they can into it, and those are ones that still, well, they still need help. All right, one of the other things I want to talk about with these decks, and a very important part of this, get up here, got that sunshine, I don't want to get a tan or anything, is treasure cards. The role of treasure cards in your deck is very important. I will be the first to say so. But this is where I really branch off from the norm. Let me see if I can find that deck at. Is this the right one? Nope, that's the big one. Bigger one. I personally have too many decks. All right, treasure cards in deck building. At the beginning, whenever you're like level 1 through 10, this is going to be a very important thing for you because blades won't really come into play as much or don't need to come into play as much. This is what you need to do. Okay, I have Gargantuan in this deck. That's all the treasure cards I have. I don't have a buffed Lightning Bats or a less pip costing Queen Calypso or a, I don't know, any other kind. I don't have any other kind of treasure card. The reason I have just Gargantuan cards, okay, this is the reason. Because at any time in the fight with the boss or the mob or the what have you, okay, I need an Iron Sultan. Or I have an Iron Sultan. Okay, well, I don't have to worry about having extra cards right here in my regular hand. In other words, say Epics or Monstrous or Gargantuan or whatever. I don't have to worry about having those in my regular deck and cluttering up what I might need to get to right away. Maybe I need to get to that Iron Sultan right away, but okay, I've got 6 Gargantuans in there, and bam, that's where I get drawn. And oddly enough, with the quote-unquote RNG of this game, oddly enough, the cards you don't need will come up a lot more often than the cards you actually do need. But back to my point. Okay, bang, I need a Gargantuan, or I need I've got an Iron Sultan here. And the boss has, okay, this says, let's just take flat numbers. It says it does 948. Well, the boss has 1,000. And assuming I have no damage buffs or anything like that, it does 948. Let's just say that. All right. Well, it's true. I don't have a bunch of Epics or Monstrous or Gargantuan or any of that other stuff in the way here to help me. But what I can do is, bang, I've got that Iron Sultan right now. Right now, in this hand, no waiting, no fuss, no muss, I can drop a Gargantuan. I can add it to my Iron Sultan. I can then exceed that 1,000 damage right here, right now. No extra clutter in my deck, but I get the extra damage bonus. Okay, I hope that I'm explaining this well enough to you all. That sure, Colossal's a really great card, and sure, all these other in-deck cards are really great cards. But if you have them in your regular hand, all they will really do, especially if you've got any number of them, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage cards here. If I could fit 7 Colossals in here, that's 7 more cards in my hand. And let's say in my first hand, in my first round of fight, I draw up 2 Storm Prisms, 2 Blades, 2 Reshuffles, and I don't know, a Colossal. Or any combination of that. I draw up 4 Colossals and 2 Storm Prisms and a Blade. That doesn't help me hit. Okay. The secret to good deck building is as few cards as possible, thinking about what you need and being able to hit on any turn that you need to hit. No waiting to, I can't find a Blade. No waiting to, I really needed Bugs this turn, but I can't get it because I got too many cards in my hand. I want to hit with this Bugs, but it's not going to do enough damage, and I didn't drop a Colossal this time. None of that. This deck is streamlined to do what it is you need to do when you need to do it. And that is the secret to a great deck. It needs to do what you need to do when you need to do it. This goes the same for Storm. This goes the same for Fire, for Ice, for Myth, for everybody. Just because I don't have a Myth deck in my hand, I mean, well, honestly, I don't think I even have that many Myth cards if I wanted to have them. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have that many Myth cards in here. But it goes the same for every school. The actual secret to good deck building is to have the ability to do what you need to do on the turn that you need to do it. The key to that, not having so many cards in your hand that you can't reach it. Now, again, with the newer players, well, you're going to have less options. You're going to have less cards. But you know what? That's not a detriment. That's actually an advantage. Okay, let's swap this deck out just for giggles. So let's just play like I'm a level 12. Okay, let's just use level 12. Okay, if I was a level 12, I'd have Probably these. If I had these, they'd be in treasure cards, probably. I still have gargantuans or monstrous. If you can't get gargantuans, then use monstrous. You can get gargantuans as I think it's as early as level 10 for crafting. I believe I was told that once, and I know that it's like level 12 for gardening. At which point you can just get these as gardening rewards. If you're a level 12 and you throw out, let's see, let me get that back over there. And you throw out a lightning bats and a level 12 content, which should still be in Wizard City. Okay, you throw out a 245 to 285 card plus 250. So you're throwing out a 495 to 570 580 point damage card at level 12. Guys, you don't need a lot of cards. You do not. You do not need a lot of cards. I mean, you can go through this again. There's really not a lot of these. I mean, bam, 4 pips. You throw out a 750 damage to like 800, whatever it is. Anyway, 850. Whatever the math is. You're throwing out a 750, let's just call it 750. You're throwing out a 750 damage card at level 12 against a mob in that area. Guys, you're doing fine. You don't have to have a ton of cards. You really do not. So minimize. Minimize is the way to go. Make sure that you can do what you need to do when you need to do it. Make sure you have the right cards. The actual card, do I have a lightning bats in my deck or a kraken in my deck? Well, that part's really not that's really a personal thing. Okay, you need 2 pips or 4 pips. Yeah, those small card changes like that are not a big deal. The real secret is to have cards in your deck that will allow you to do what you need to do on the turn you want to do it. I hope this helped you out. If you have any specific questions, by all means, hit me up. Let me know. I've answered deck questions for the longest time. I could surely answer a few more, and I would be glad to help you out. Guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share, yell my name to the heavens, name your firstborn son or daughter. Scout works good for either one after me. I would love to have that. And until next time, whatever else you do, always love the game. Peace. Hey, what's up, gamers? Skells. I have just logged on. Apparently, I've come back just in time because Great Granddaddy Squidward, also known as the Old One, has just told me to go to the Arcanum. I have